So let me introduce myself. I'm Prashant here. I have around 25 years of experience in DevOps and solution architect, and I work for an European customer. And basically, from cloud solutioning side, I do a lot of solutioning and solution architect for various clients in Europe. I've trained many things like many batches. Last batches we just finished a week ago for Visualpath. Uh, Normally, what I do always a certification track, right? I do certification track courses for Docker as well as Kubernetes. So Docker, we have very popular certification track which we call DCA, right? So it's basically Docker Certified Associate. This is the certificate which we do, and I follow the same track, same content, everything is same to same. See, the end goal is like we are investing money, time, everything. So what I want to say is like we are investing time and money, but what we are doing, we are also building you to prepare for certification track. So tomorrow when you complete your course, you should be eligible to go and write the certification track and get certified. Once you get certified, it holds a lot of values because this is the niche technology skills. Everybody wants to upskill in this area and try to switch job or upskill themselves or grow in a new technology domain which we call cloud solutioning or a DevOps solutioning. That is the need of the hour, and that is how we are also preparing you for that. So we follow the certification track, that is one. Another is we will be recording each and every session, and the recordings will be sent to you. Basically, we upload everything in a G drive, and you will be provided with the login credentials so that you can access directly from our G drive, and all the recording sessions will be available. On top of it, we will be having our own lab. We will be doing hands-on session because both Docker and Kubernetes are on hands-on session. And then we will be also doing all the exercises, use cases, and we'll be preparing you for certifications. And all that exercise, whatever the training material, I may be using some deployment script, or I want to spin up the pods, I want to set up the cluster, maybe a Docker instance, how to install Docker and how to set up the Kubernetes cluster. All that we'll be sharing with you. I'll be doing everything on in front of you, and then we'll be recording it, and then we'll be also providing you. So in case if you want to refer back that how I did and how did I set up the lab, you can always go back and you can refer it. All right, so this is how we are going to do it. All right, so I'm also certified CK exam. I'm certified in the last year in October. Just wanted to renew my certificate. I did it 3 times, right? So recently I did it in October last year. All that information I'll be sharing you once we start as a full-fledged session. The purpose of this demo session is to give you as much as information we can provide to you. It's not related that we'll go to that, we'll start the course just in the demo session itself. Demo session is intended to give you the information and hear back from you that what is your expectations, right? How we are going to do it, right? What will be our lab setup? All that we will be just discussing in this demo session, and we'll be trying to give you as much as information related to Docker and Kubernetes because that we will be doing both the courses together. All right. Docker will be doing the first because Kubernetes we cannot create containers, right? So we have to, and Kubernetes is dependent on Docker. So we have to first understand what is container, how to spin up the container, how to create the container, how my legacy application can be migrated into this container. So we'll be building our foundational knowledge on Docker, containers, everything. Once we have our foundation strong, right, then we will move from basic to advanced thing. That is what we are going to follow the track. We will first teach you each and everything. So for us, there is no prerequisite. Anybody can come and learn Docker and Kubernetes, right? No everything is on us, right? We'll be building your credentials, we'll be building your foundations, we'll be building your skills, everything from basics to foundations, and then from foundations we'll be moving ahead to with advanced thing. That is how we follow. That is step by step we follow. So, and I'm really sorry that I'm actually traveling and I don't have my, I was just searching and I'm in my USB, the PPT which I always use for my demo session is corrupted. So since morning I was struggling just to take it back, but I'm not able to get it back. But I'll fix that issue. Not, that's not an issue, right? So that is how this session is all about, to give you as much as information. If you have something, we have a Q&A session at the end. Most of the questions I'll be answering and I'll be covering in my demo session. In case if you feel that okay, there is some more information needed, you feel free to ask me any questions and we will discuss everything in this session. All right, because we want to start a batch and we will clarify this thing, right? So I'll come to this Docker thing little later. Let me start with Kubernetes, right? Docker is again a part of Kubernetes, but as I said, we'll first start with the Docker. We'll build our knowledge about container and everything. Then we'll switch back to Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is we will follow after Docker. So we'll start with Docker and then we'll follow with Kubernetes in our course, right? Not in demo session, in our course, right? So because Kubernetes is basically a management layer, right? It's an orchestration layer. It will manage my containers, right? But Kubernetes cannot create container on its own, right? So it is dependent on Docker. And Docker, there are so many things, right? We have to build our own application, we have to containerize our applications, right? All that we have to do, each and everything. So that is how we will be doing it, everything. So that is how we'll be doing all that thing, right? So let me go ahead and start with Kubernetes. Opening the direct links, right? What Kubernetes, right? Certification track is all about, right? Nothing is from us. We'll be directly taking reference from the Linux Foundation, CNCF, Cloud Native Cloud Foundation. And what curriculum they've defined, we will follow the same pattern, right? So I'll just opening that website and then I'll talk about it. Just give me a minute. So this is the thing, right? So where we will be doing all the courses. Now, if you come here, right, CKA, right, this is the certification which we called about the Certified Kubernetes Administrator, CKA. All right, Certified Kubernetes Administrator. Now, all right, then we have a few more certificates. We have CKAD also. CKAD is basically for developers, right? It's basically, it says Certified Kubernetes Application Developer, right? Certification application developer means it's basically the developer who would be doing the coding and building the application, or maybe the customer solutions. They should have the Kubernetes in mind, keeping the Kubernetes in mind, how they can develop the application or a customer based solution, right? That is how we will be teaching here, right? So it is always related to development only, right? But CK is much more powerful. CK, you will be setting up the environment, whole platform, right? Whole platform where the application will be deployed, application will be running, they'll be scaling up, scaling down, right? As and when the traffic increases, right? All that we will do at a CKA. CK is very, very popular certificate, and its weightage wise also it's a very, has a lot of value, right? Over CKAD. CKAD is focusing on developer, but if anybody can learn CK, they can manage CKAD also. CKAD would be related to application only. I'll be talking more about it when once we start discussing about both the certification. We have one more certificate called CKS, right? CKS is basically Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist. That is basically related to security, right? You might have heard the terms, right? Most of the time people say DevOps, but now people also started saying DevSecOps. All right, so DevOps and DevSecOps both are parallel. But what we do, while security was cornered for a few years, and later we realized that security cannot be cornered and it cannot be considered as the end component. It should be considered at the beginning itself. When you build a solution, security should also be built at that time, right? Security should not be considered as a separate layer. It should be an inbuilt from your solution. So that is how we have involved security also. So security is also part of my SDLC, right? When we build any software following the software lifecycle, the SDLC also cover the security component, security layer, everything, right? So that is how the security is also now part of it. So those guys who are related to security or network, or they want to build their professional in cybersecurity side, they can go for this certificate. All right, but this certificate has a dependency on CKA, right? You have to have CKA certificate, then only you can go for it, right? So we'll talk about it. So let me talk about what we are here for, and then we will go ahead, right? So let me begin with CKA. So this is the full form of Certified Kubernetes Administrator, CKA, right? Now here they mention the fee for this exam is only for exam, right? Nothing else, only for exam. It's around approximately 400 USD, right? 400 USD means 395 USD, approximately 400 USD. I'll give you some coupons and all that, right? So maybe you can get some 20-25% discount also, and we will have some discount, maybe $100 less. So approximately 300 you have to pay. Now, what all comes with this, right? So this includes, so first of all, the certification is online. All right, the certificate is online. Online means you need not to go anywhere, right? You can book the exam from your home, right, and a particular schedule and a particular slot, right? And they will provide you some utility tools which will scan your laptop, and it will find that okay, you can take the exam on your existing laptop. So basically, it's basically a configuration test, which will run some utility on your laptop, and just it will collect the report and say that okay, your laptop is suitable and all that configuration. It will do a validation and verification, and then the test will be verified automatically. And once it is verified, right, then it will ask you to download one software, and from that software you can start the exam. And when you launch that software, the proctor will be always online. The proctor means the guy from this Linux Foundation. One guy will be observing you online. So you have to always put on the camera on, and the exam, the 2 hour duration, the guy will be monitoring you. You can take help from him also, right? The chat and everything will be provided. You can chat with him. He will also ask you to scan the camera, run through, scan the room in which you are trying to take the exam from your home, so that nobody can be accompany you and nobody can help you. So he will ask you to scan the camera across the room, show me this corner, that corner, and once he'll be satisfied, he will load the exam for you, right? And he'll be helping you. The clock will be ticking, and in between, if you want to take some a 5 minutes break or something, but the clock will not stop. Clock will not stop. It will be in a running mode. But you can request the proctor. He will stop and then he will resume the back. But you can take the break. Some people they don't prefer break, so you can continue and you can take the full exam without break also. So it's depend, right? So but exam is online. You need not to go anywhere, right? And it's good also, right? It saves time also, right? You need not to go anywhere and then avoid traffic and all that thing, right? So you can just take exam anytime in your at your comfort zone, right? Day, evening, or whatever, right? 24 hours you can book any slot. But on the portal, when you schedule the available slot, they will tell you, and one of the slot you can pick and you can schedule this exam. All right, so it is fully online. Now the duration of exam is 2 hours. All right, so basically there will be 17 to 18 questions, right? And in 2 hours, so approximately 10 minutes per question you have to just go and you have to attempt. All right, so this is how the duration is 2 hours. Earlier, the CK was a very tough exam. The duration was 3 hours. CKAD, right, application developer, that is since beginning it is 2 hours only because slightly lightweight exam. CKAD, CK is very very powerful, right? So it used to be very very complex, right? I wrote my two certification exams 3 hours, but later they reduced the complexity, and now they have also reduced the time also, right? So within 2 hours, and you have to do. When I wrote the exam, at that time it was 23 to 25 questions, right? But now they have reduced to 17 to 18 questions. All right, so duration would be 2 hours for both CKA, CKAD, CKS, all 2 hours, 2 hours. Now the certificate is valid for 3 years only, right? So after that also you can use it, no problem, right? People only just want to see your certification. They say, okay, you are CKAD certified, CKA certified, right? Now why they mention like this, right? So it is not the goal is not to make the money, right, from you, right? So you will be paying again after 3 hours. That is not the goal. The goal is that technology will not be fixed, right? We also understand that after 3 years again the technology will be changed, so we also need to upscale ourselves. We cannot use the same certificate, say I'm certified on so and so version or so and so technology will be changed after 3 years. That is the expectation. So we also have to upskill, right? But it's again optional. Some people they go and renew their certificate if it's the client demands or their professional demands or their company or their employee, the employer wants to certify their people on the newer or latest platform. So again, you can go for certification, but it is valid for 3 hours, the 3 years, and the expectation is technology will again change after 3 years, and you need to upskill yourself. So that is the only thing here, not the money making business. Now, this once you take this subscription of this CKA after paying this 395 USD, which we just saw the price, right? Within a year, you can write this exam anytime, right? Within a year you can write, so it is valid for 12 months, right? So let's say today if you have taken this certificate 24th of Jan 2024, it will be valid up till 23rd January 2025. So it would be like that. So this is how you can also go and get your certificate and all that thing, right? But you have to write within 12 months, right? It is valid only for 1 year, right? Now what is this thing? Let's understand the this validity, right? One retake is free. That one retake is free means, let's say you go for exam, and God forbid, right? I should not say this, but let's say you don't pass the exam, right? You don't pass the exam. That means you need not to pay the money again to take your exam or you take your certification exam again, you need not to pay anything. One retake is free. That means it comes with 1+1 offer. All right. If you clear your exam in the first go itself, then no need to worry about, because you are already certified. You don't need second attempt. Rather than forget about the retake because you are already certified. But in case if you miss your exam by somehow or by by any unfortunate reasons, right, you can go for one retake which is absolutely free without paying anything. All right. So it basically comes with 1+1. Right. So don't worry about it. All right. So this money they are taking, but one retake is free. Right. Now, once you're certified, they'll issue all the PDF file and all that thing, the logo, digital badge, which you can put it on your CV, the logo that you are seeking certified. And it's very, very essential. It is needed also, right? Once you upload your profile for any job portals, maybe LinkedIn or anything, Naukri or any other portal. And now even the big corporate houses, they do recruitment based on certified professionals. And if your CV is having this logo, you will be shortlisted because they would be looking for certified people only, and you are already certified, you will be shortlisted, right? So this badge, digital badge, and they help, right, a lot of people, right? So if you are looking for any kind of thing, so no proof is given, this digital badge and all that thing, you have to just update your CV with proper logos and all that thing, it will be shortlisted. Now this is the version, right? So software version Kubernetes is 1.28. Right, 1.2 is the base version and 1.8 base 8 is basically minor version. So this is the version, right, on which we'll be having Kubernetes, our environment cluster, everything, and we'll be preparing for certification also. All right. Now this is basically performance based, right? So no objective type question that you will be provided with four choices and select the best of the best out of which four, which one is the best answer, and then accordingly you have to write this exam. That is not the pattern of this exam. The pattern is only pure performance based. That means the questions would be scenario based. Something is missing in the question and your application not running. You have to identify what is the problem with that thing, right? Anyhow, they will be describing in the question itself that okay, you have to build this thing, this pod is running and this pod is not running, this pod is in pending state, or you can just go and check the logs and then you will find okay what is the error message and you have to fix it, right? And once it is running up and running, that means your application is up and running. So all are performance based. Performance based means scenario based questions. All right, so around 17 question and all are performance based questions. Few questions may be interlinked, right? You have already started the pod. Now they may ask you in the second question, okay, attach some storage, or in the third question again they'll ask you okay now expose this pod on so and so port number to outside world, right? So all that thing you should know, and I'll be covering all that part in detail, and don't worry about it, I'll be preparing for all certification track. Plus I will also ensure that you will pass the certificate in first go itself, right? Not the retake, right? We don't believe in retakes, right? Though it's there, it's an add-on which we will utilize, but we will not target for that. Our target is we will clear the certificate in first go, right? So all is performance based. Now this is really important. Last point, exam simulator. All right. So basically, once you take this exam, I'll provide you simulators, right? I already have the links and all that thing. Now this simulator, basically there are two simulators, simulator 1 and simulator 2. Simulator, what is simulator? Simulator is basically, it's a prototype exam environment. All right. So it will load your exam, 25 question will be asked, right? Here they will give you 25, some few questions extra. Clock is ticking, right? Everything as if you are writing the real exam. So it's a prototype lab where you can do hands-on and prepare yourself for certification, right? So the simulation, if you complete the simulation 1 and simulation 2, basically there are two simulation things. If you complete both, I'm 100% sure you will pass the exam. Simulation, they'll ask you question pattern, how you will navigate from one question to another, how you will be writing the exam in and the lab and all that thing in the exam. So everything is basically they are giving you experience before writing exam. They are giving you pre-experience so that you can experience and you have a hands-on and you are familiarized with the environment, certificate environment and all that thing, right? And the simulation is really really important. Once you finish our training and all that thing, the simulation you should start. Anyhow, I will be having one session and I'll be explaining you everything that how you can prepare for certification and what is simulation, how you can utilize and all that thing. We'll run through it, but I'm saying that this is the key. This is the one of the essential component where you can get certified using the simulation. You don't need anything else. If you have some time and you spend some time and you complete the simulation 1 and simulation 2, 100% you will be certified. right? I assure you, right? That's my guarantee, right? So that is how you can also go for this simulation, and we will talk about it. So this is basically about all the things. This will be part of the thing. Now let's understand, right, what all things we will be covering. So if you see here, so basically they have given the weightage. They have given the weightage and the domain components and all that thing. So if you see here, storage 10%, right? And what all things under storage? So all these things they will be asked you. Understanding storage class, right? Class is basically one of the property where we declare the type of the storage, right? And persistent volume. Persistent means, don't worry about this new terminology and all that thing, right? It's expected whenever we learn new tools or new platform or any new environment, we also expect to learn new terminology. So persistent means something permanent. All right, that is what we say, this persistent volume. Then understand volume mode and access mode and all that thing, right? So policy, how to set up the policies, all that thing. We'll be doing all that thing. Underneath, there are a few more topics which are not highlighted over here. I will be covering those parts also, right? So they just give you the key headlines, but underneath there are some other sub topics and transient components which I'll be touch base, and I'll be covering those part also. So we'll be covering the full storage also, PV, PVC, and all the storage class and all that thing we'll be covering over here, and it will be pure hands-on thing plus use cases also. I'll be taking few use cases also, right, related to exam, related to your daily day-to-day activities as an admin, how you plan your storage, how you increase the storage in case your storage is full, how you can increase, how you can manage, what are the backup restoration processes, all that thing we'll be talking about it, because my data will be residing on this storage. So we'll be covering all that thing where my data will be intact, right? So all that we'll be doing over here. And then troubleshooting, since it's all scenario based question, right? So 30% they'll ask you about troubleshooting and all that thing. So here you should know how to check the log, right? So the cluster, once you have the cluster, then what are the health check of the cluster, whether my cluster is working fine or not, right? So how will you check it? So all that we'll be learning it here, and then we'll also check the node. What is a node? Node is nothing but a virtual machine, right? As I said, there are new terminology which we will be exploring when we will learn this new tool, which is Kubernetes. All right, so node is nothing, which is basically a machine, right? So here we don't say it's my server or my client or my desktop or my this machine, my backend or front end. We just say node. Node is my machine. It may be physical machine, maybe VM machine, maybe cloud instance or anything, right? Node is just a machine. So here we'll be checking the log of our nodes also. In Kubernetes cluster, Kubernetes cannot sit on just one machine. We need multiple machines, right? What is the concept of multiple machine? And we set up the cluster, right? So collection of machines, right? And collection of machines we group together, and through the networking these machines will be talking to each other, and that is how the collection of machines will build my cluster. So cluster is nothing but collection of machines, right? So I would say collection of nodes. So that is how we'll be checking the log from each and every node. If there is my pod is running on, let's say, on node A or node B or node C, I'll be checking the log, right? So on a specific node where my application is running. So all that we'll be doing over here. And don't worry, I'll be teaching you how to check and how to do that. Understand how to monitor your application. So Kubernetes comes with an inbuilt monitoring layer. All right, monitoring was never considered as a priority or as a primary, right? Monitoring, we say, okay, we will see later when the application will fail, that time we'll see. But now, right, since the DevOps has evolved, monitoring is the key essential feature. We have to monitor all the time whether my environment is healthy, doesn't matter, right? But I should get the report. I should see on my dashboard that all servers are in green, right? None of the server is sending me yellow warnings or red warnings. All are green, right? So that is how monitoring is essential, and inbuilt layer we'll be exploring it here, and we'll manage all our applications, right, through monitoring. Then manage container standard output and standard error logs and all that thing. Troubleshoot application failure, right? So what are the touch points where we go and we check where the applications fail? What is our approach? So here we will be having all the touch points, and based on that we'll form our own approach. So as and when application fails, we know that where to go and how to check it and how to fix it. All that thing we will come to know end to end, right? So here we will be deep dive, and we'll see how to fix the failure application, and from day one we'll begin with it, because that is how even the whole environment is all about, right? Even the exam, after the finish of the training and everything, when you go for exam again, in the exam also, everything in the failure situation you have to bring it up, right? So that is how the scenario based question would be asked. So that is also, again, we will build our knowledge and our foundation on this side. Troubleshoot cluster component failure, right? If any specific component, Kubernetes comes with many things, right? For example, it comes with an inbuilt database where all my cluster information, all my configurations, all my node IP addresses, my application configuration port number, everything stored in the database, right? So here we will see, right, whether all the component of my cluster are healthy or not, right? So here we will see how to check even the internal component, not only application but internal infrastructure or my related to my platform. Here we will build our knowledge and we will get to see all our components. Troubleshooting networking. Kubernetes comes with its own networking. Don't be scared. Networking, when I say networking, people get scared because it's a very vast topic, right? Very vast. Networking itself is a very vast topic. But here everything is automated, right? Kubernetes comes with its own networking because Kubernetes doesn't trust anyone, right? Even I have already laid down my network, but still Kubernetes will not trust because of high security reasons. Kubernetes has its own security compliances and it will have its own networking. It doesn't trust anyone, right? So here we will be having our networking and all that, right? Anyhow, I'll be having one session on networking, right? Both in Docker networking as well as Kubernetes. So separate sessions, and we will deep dive, right? We will see who is giving IP address to my application, where to find out my network information, all that thing. We will deep dive and we will have understanding over here. All right. Then workload and scheduling. So Kubernetes manages my workloads and scheduling automatically. So it will automatically schedule my applications, all that we will understand over here. So scheduling is again round robin fashion. It will deploy my application. If my worker node 1 is busy, that Kubernetes will automatically do. It will not ask me that, okay, where should I deploy this application? It will maintain its own metrics, right? If worker node previously it has been deployed with some application of worker 1, then it will deploy on worker 2, worker 3, like that it will automatically do. So here we will do a lot of things, scheduling all that thing from day one. We have to understand, and we already have in our agenda, and we will cover that part. So here we will understand, right, how understand the deployment, how to perform rolling update and rollback and all that thing, right? So scaling up and scaling down, because in cloud the costing or the pricing module is pay as you go. So here we have to understand, right? Pay as you go. Here we have to understand, right? When my resources are not being utilized, right, we will be releasing them. Why should we pay unnecessary when we are not using it, right? So here we will see, but it's all automated thing. But we will deep down, we will understand and when to use, how to use. So there are a couple of use cases which we will follow, and we will build our strong things, and we will come to know, okay, when to use which use case. So that is how we'll be having this thing. Config map and secrets, right? Config map secrets are basically related to environment variables. A lot of my application dependent on some preset environment variables, some default path where my dependencies will be collected, my what is the default path of my pre environment or my dependencies or post configuration steps. All that will be passing through config map and secrets. All right, but there is a thin line difference between config map and secrets. Secrets are normally what happens if you are using any backend application and if your application needs some credentials. So I cannot pass my username and password in my plain text file, right? I have to use encryption decryption. So my username password will not be seen. Otherwise, what will happen? Anybody can open my file and they can steal my credentials. And remember, if somebody will steal your credentials, right, they will log into your database and they will first thing what they will do, they will change the password, right? And they will start stealing the information, right? And they'll collect all the details what you have in that database, right? And next time when you come and when you try to log in, you won't be able to log in. Why? Because the password is changed and you don't have a password, right? These guys are very crazy. So here we will, right, Kubernetes come with a special arrangement where we use encryption decryption, and it's an already there in Kubernetes as a add-on layer, encryption decryption layer. We'll be using that layer. I'll be showing you how to create the secret and how to encrypt and how to decrypt all that thing, right? So here we'll be learning that. Then how to scale the application, right? So again, here we can use both the techniques, manual scaling and scaling up and scaling down, or auto scaling also. So both the scaling we will do here. So first I will teach you manual thing, and then we'll automate the process. So it will be auto scaling. So that is also we'll do it here. Understand the primitives used to create robust self-healing application deployment. Kubernetes heal your application automatically. Let's say if your application is crashed in middle of night and you are not there in the office, nobody is there in the office because we'll be sleeping during that time. And my application crashed around 2 a.m. early in the morning, right? So it will not wait until next day morning when I go to office. right? And then I have to, okay, 9 o'clock when I'm going to office, I'll walk down to my data center, look at my server. Oh, one application has gone down, right? Then I will just go and then I'll just figure out what went wrong. Then I'll open the log files and try to fix the application, right? It may take 1 hour. So 9 o'clock I reach office. By 10 o'clock, my application is up and running, right? So that means my application was crashed at what time? 2 a.m., right? And when application is again back up and running around 10 a.m. So that means around 8 hours of productivity is already lost, right? 8 hours productivity already lost. Kubernetes will not wait that long. Kubernetes will heal my application automatically. How? There is a special technique and all. There are special components which will heal my application. So self-healing is again a core feature of Kubernetes, which I will teach you, right? I will teach you, and we will be using those techniques. So it will not wait till next day morning when I go to office. It will heal my application immediately in the next second, right? How? That all the techniques we will study here and I'll teach you, right? There are some use cases also which we will deep dive, right? And along with me, that you will also understand those things. Then now awareness of manifest management and common template. Understand how resource limits can affect pod scheduling. Resources are nothing but CPU and memory, right? How can you set your CPU and memory, right? Pod is nothing but your container in which application is running, right? How the scheduler will come to know that a so and so application needs so much resources, that this much CPU and this much memory it is needed, right? Normally for database application, right? My database application at least they need 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM, right? How Kubernetes will come to know I can set the limit, right? I can set the limit and I can set both the limit, that right? The minimum requirement limit and the upper limit also. As in when traffic increases, my application should not go down. You should automatically borrow the resources dynamically during the on the fly, on the go, right? During runtime. So I can set the limit also. Okay, so when my application start at the runtime, right? At the first time, 2 CPU, 4 GB minimum requirement it will provide, and then it may need higher, right? From 2 CPU it may need 4 CPU or 8 CPUs, right? I can set the limit also. So it's again an interesting feature of Kubernetes. We will do all that thing so that my application will never ever go down. It will always be up and running. Then awareness of manifest management. Manifest is nothing but your YAML files and templates and all that thing, which we'll talk about it. And the other templating tools which we can use. So I'll tell you how to build our knowledge in YAML. So don't forget, don't worry about YAML thing. As I said, there's no prerequisites. I'll be teaching you everything, right? Even the YAML thing I'll be teaching you on the fly, on the go, right? When we jump on that thing, how to automate. Basically, I have an automation topic in Docker. In the automation, we will study all the YAML thing, right? So there is a dedicated session and I'll be teaching you, right? So you don't worry about it. And YAML is not a programming thing. It's just a key value pair. It's a ready-made template where we just key in all our information, right? All configuration and all that thing, right? So don't worry about it. It's a very simple thing and I'll be teaching you that thing. So this is how we'll be covering here. Then this is again the key part. Normally we start with this part, setting up the Kubernetes cluster. Right. So first, in the introduction, I'll tell you what is the architecture, what Kubernetes architecture is all about, how it follows, and then we'll do the installation and configurations. So here we'll set up our cluster. Right? I'll teach you how to set up the cluster, right? And we'll be building from scratch. So basically, I don't take any ready-made cluster from AWS, Amazon, or Google Cloud. We don't use any ready-made cluster. We'll be doing bare metal cluster. Bare metal means I just have machines only, nothing else, no preloaded environment. And that on that, I'll be spinning up my whole cluster. That means from the scratch, one by one component, I will be building and setting up my whole cluster. Each and every component I will build on my own. I'll not take anything from ready-made thing. No Amazon uh, cluster, right, from AWS, or nothing from Azure, or nothing from Google, right? I'll tell you what is it. It's very simple thing. It's an automated thing. Normally corporate people, they don't want to get into all this thing, but as a certification track, they prefer to go with bare metal, and we'll be covering that bare metal.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Naveen, sir. Sorry for the interruption, sir.
no problem, Naveen. Go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, you mentioned like you're going to teach like a cluster means you're going to teach like AWS, EKS are doing it there, or you can able to do like I'm saying about like Kubernetes like that, sir.
No, no, no. See,
Yeah.
EKS and all that certificate. See, vendor specific question won't be asked in exam. There won't be any
Okay.
question on EKS cluster or Azure cluster or Google cluster. Vendor specific cluster, they will not ask you any question. See, what is the
Okay.
difference? Why we are
Yeah.
confused? What is the difference? Let me spend one more minute here.
Okay.
There is only installation process is different, but architecture of Kubernetes will remain same. Nobody can change the architecture of Kubernetes. AWS cannot change architecture. Microsoft Azure cannot change architecture. Google Cloud cannot change architecture of Kubernetes. This is only installation process because they are providing you infrastructure. So they will tell you how to install this cluster. So only the installation process is different. And I discuss all these things when I set up the cluster in first time. We will talk about all those things. What is different between EKS, AKS, Google Cloud, GKE, and other clusters, right? Red Hat also has their own cluster. IBM also they have their cluster. Oracle also they have their cluster. I will discuss all that thing installation. Only the installation process is different. But in the exam point of view, no vendor
Okay.
question will be asked. Everything will be bare metal.
So using this, we can crack the interview for the job also, right, sir?
Yes, 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 yes. And
Okay.
if you know the bare metal, if you know the bare metal install, just give me one more minute, then I'll take up the questions. If you know the bare metal, you can install cluster on any cloud environment, any third party vendor. You can install Kubernetes. It's a universal installer. Bare metal is universal. You can install on premises. You can install on any cloud vendor cloud instances also. So it's a universal installer, and I will be talking and I'll be teaching you that. First, I'll set up the cluster, couple of days, 2, 3 days, I'll be setting every day. And then you will also start setting up the cluster along with me. I'll tell you all the steps, how to do it, what are the components, everything we will discuss. There's a one full session which is needed to set up even the cluster in the first time because I'll be teaching you so many things. All right. So it's only installation difference where all the vendor, because they are providing infrastructure, so they will be having their own scripts and all that environment, machine and all that thing. Only the installation process is different, but architecture will remain same, right? So whatever I'll be teaching you, if you go to EKS cluster or AKS cluster or Google cluster, architecture will remain same.
So, Prashant, one thing, okay,
Yeah.
are you going to teach on the bare metal server or any cloud? So, we are much more interested on the bare metal server.
Yeah, I'll be doing on bare metals only, but I'll use some cloud instances. Only I'll be taking the machines from AWS because they provide some free machines I can take for 1 year. I'll be taking only machines from them, but I'll be setting up the cluster on bare metal. I'll not take any service from AWS or Microsoft or any vendor. Only machines I'll be taking because I need few machines,
Okay,
right? So
okay.
I'll be only taking the machines. That's it. Nothing else.
Thank you, Prashant.
All right, but I'll be teaching you about AWS and all that thing, so don't worry about it. So YAML, automation, Linux, even if you are aware or if you are not aware about Ubuntu or anything, I'll be teaching you that also. Right, so that is the add-on. As a part of the course, we'll be giving you some extra as a free. We are not going to charge you anything. Right, so even the YAML automation part, I'll be teaching you on the fly, on the go. No prerequisites for my sessions. I don't ask anybody that you come with this thing, then only I'll be teaching you or you'll be learning this technology. There is no dependencies. Anybody can learn. If you are coming from a sales background, also you can learn. If you are coming from testing background, you can learn. If you are a developer, you can learn. If you are coming from network or infrastructure, you can learn. Right, that is how this technology also like that. See, YAML and all these are standard things. If I go to Docker, if I go to Kubernetes or Ansible, Chef, Puppet, or any monitoring tool, Datadog or Splunk or anything, everybody follows the same YAML pattern only. And YAML is just a key value only. So my process, my IO operations will be very, very fast. It increases the performances and it eliminates the programming skills. We are not dependent on hardcore programmers. Anybody can learn. We have no dependency that you should be coming with a programming background. That is not needed. Essentially, only the
And
mindset is needed. That's it.
Prashant, one more thing, okay, there are multiple things we are seeing in online, Terraform, Ansible, something. All these are
Yeah.
covered in this, or
No, no. Those are some automation frameworks and all that thing. And I'll be talking about all those things because see, in here in we are targeting only Docker and Kubernetes, but those are separate things. See, Terraform we use only for infrastructure provisioning. Where I want to spin up 100 servers, I want to set up thing, I will be using Terraform. But what is Terraform? Terraform again, the templates where I will be having which OS, what is my CPU memory size, all the configuration. I'll be already predefined templates. I'll define it and Terraform will read all the info from the templates and they will set up my servers. So infrastructure as a code, we use Terraform tool. Ansible, all that thing we use for deployment, automation, all that thing. I want to reboot server, I want to schedule some deployment, I want to set my update and patch at a particular time, particular instance, right? All that we'll do through Ansible. It's an all automation things. They
So
come with
those are
automation.
not part of this course?
No, 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 no. We are not doing DevOps. We are doing only for Docker and Kubernetes.
Hello, sir.
See, it's
Hello.
not a DevOps workshop where we'll teach you everything, right? Even Git,
Yeah.
even Jenkins, all that thing is not part of this tool. Though I'll be doing CI/CD, but I'll be using CI/CD pipeline of Docker itself. No
Yeah.
third-party tools.
Sir, Naveen again, sir. Hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Sir,
please.
what actually is that, like, I'm saying about, like, what actually, like, the roles and responsibilities in the real time, sir, using, like, after going through the sessions, sir, Docker and Kubernetes. So what is
Yeah.
the role of mine, sir, if I go for the real time, for example, I'm saying about companies, sir.
Hmm. So
So what
basically,
is the role of that? Yeah.
I take all these things and we will build how your CV should be updated, what are skills and how to highlight your skills on a CV. I
Okay.
have normally I take one session at the end, but since you have asked, so let me answer this question. So
Yeah.
what happens is, see, if you look at the DevOps, the hardcore is what? Container, which is Docker, and
Yeah.
Kubernetes and orchestration layer. These are the hardcore tools. If you know these two tools, right, you will be hired very fast. All the other things like Terraform, Ansible, people will be teaching you. Let's say if you join any company, let's say IBM, Infosys, or any vendor, they'll be teaching you the add-on tools, how they are using Terraform, how they are using. See, Terraform, all those things. Normally, those are infrastructure part, right? They may not, you may not be exposed to all managing servers and all that. But Kubernetes and container, they are universal, right? Your application should be containerized. What all things are needed? Can you pull your application into container thing? What are the things? What are the nuances? What are the around surrounding things which you should pick up and you can migrate your application into the container? Because our applications are standalone application, legacy application. How can you migrate into container? So Docker will help you. So Docker is essentially the key of DevOps tool. One of the core tool is Docker. Now, once you
Okay.
run containers, Google is running containers every day, right? When you say www.google.com, I search anything. If I put some keywords, it will tell me hundreds of links. That where they are from, where they are coming. They are coming from Google search engine. Right? What is Google search engine? It's a huge database. In the database, these keywords will be query. Runtime, they'll query and they'll fetch the information from that database and they'll populate on my browser. And from browser, I can link and I can go wherever I want. And that is how we collect the information from Google. Every day we are
Oh,
doing it. But
okay.
whole world
Okay.
is using Google, right? If you
Yeah.
ask me frankly, from last 2 decades, I'm using Google, right? Last 2 decades means around 20 years I'm using Google. I never saw even a single minute Google is down. Google is not available today. That means Google is so powerful in managing infrastructure, right? I have last two
Yes.
decades I've never seen Google is not available today. All right, that
Yeah.
means whole
Yeah.
world is using. Now what is
Yeah.
Google is running? Google has migrated all their application in containers. So Google is running millions of containers every day. So that means containers everywhere, right? It's again a problem, right? Containers everywhere. It's again a big challenge. Who will manage these containers? For example, let me ask you one question. Let's say I'm running millions of containers. One of container has gone down. Can you go and figure it out which one has gone down out of the million containers? Is it possible?
No.
Not possible, right? But if it happens every now and then, recurring problem, again, every one container, you fix it, now another container has gone down, right? We will go crazy, we'll go mad, we will not be able to find it. So the Google engineers, they sat down and they, feature by feature, right? They understood all the problems and feature by feature, they developed one tool called Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is developed by Google engineers. They sat it down and feature by feature, they wrote it, right? And they collected all the features and they launched all the features under a tool by name Kubernetes. Right? Anyhow, I'll be talking about Kubernetes in my first introduction session. I'll give you all the information. But just to make this story, because otherwise you will never know what is the power of Kubernetes and what is the power of Docker. So Google engineers, they come up with a container management tool who's managing the container. If any container goes down, my Kubernetes will come to know first thing, and then
Yes.
not only just tell me that okay, this has gone down, so go and fix it. Kubernetes will fix it automatically. I need not to worry about anything, right? Auto scaling
Yes.
again, Kubernetes will do it automatically.
Okay.
right? And that is why the CK is very, very powerful. So here we'll be building the lab and all that thing, right? So don't worry about it. We'll do all the things, a high availability of cluster. Then we role-based access, how to define specific role for development, specific role for tester, specific role for support engineer, because we cannot give admin access, right? So they can see their application, they can delete the application, to what level they can delete, all that I can set it through RBAC. So this is again an interesting topic.
Sir, can you show us the course content, sir?
These are the course content which we are discussing. All these are course content only.
No, I'm saying about like in brief, sir. I'm saying what actually the course in the brief and yeah. Okay.
Sure, sure. Yeah, Visualpath will share you. We already have template. But to discuss
Okay.
about certificate, right? Normally, I have a habit to just directly show you here, but we will send it. Don't worry about it. We have a separate courseware, and we'll send you as a one PDF file.
Okay, fine, sir. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So this is how, and they have given the weightage also, right? So if you say 20 and 15, 50%, and 20 and no, this is how much? 45%, right? 45, and then we have again 45% here, and then 10% here. So 45, 41, 90, and 10, 100%. That is how, right? We will be having all the questions, right, in the exam. So if you take 40, 55, 55, and this is 80, 80 plus 20, 100%. So this is how they'll be doing service and networking also, right? All the things, there are many types of services, right? So cluster IP service, node port, load balancer, all these are types of service. Which service do what, right? That I'll be teaching you, right? And how to expose this service, connectivity between service and my pod and all that thing, right? Then core DNS, who will resolve my fully qualified domain name into IP address and all that thing, right? Core DNS and all that thing, and then container network, if you have any plugin or any specific network, how to have the even the networking, because through networking only everything will be, right? My pod, my service, they will be talking to each other. So all that we'll be having here. So services, networking, everything, even the storage, troubleshooting, setting up the cluster, everything will be covering in the Kubernetes. So I'll follow this track, and I'll cover all the topic which are mentioned here, right? Plus I'll be giving you some add-on additional information also wherever it is there, since I also dealing with all my customer and all the things. So I'll be bringing all the production use cases, the, right? All the real-time use cases we'll be discussing over here. All right, guys. So this is the secret track which I'll be following, and similarly for Docker also we'll be following this track, right? Docker, we have a DCS certificate, right? DC is basically Docker Certified Associate Certificate, right? So here we'll be covering. So I'll just run through very fast, but anyhow I'll be covering all that thing in detail. Right? What is container? What is container orchestration? So here we'll understand the basic, right? All the basics of container. What is container, right? It's a new terminology for us, right? And then what are the tools, right? What are the tools, orchestration, all that thing, right? We'll be doing all that thing. Just give me a minute. All right. And Docker Swarm is parallel tool of Kubernetes, but Docker Swarm is not had grown up, right? It's still for simple applications. We are using simple to medium. We are using Docker Swarm, but for complex environment, we are using Kubernetes. I'll be talking about Docker Swarm also. I'll be set up the cluster also. We'll be doing Docker Swarm also, right? And then we will see what is different between Docker and Kubernetes. So here we'll have, right, both the Docker Swarm as well as Kubernetes as a popular orchestration. Orchestration is nothing but a management layer. Orchestrate my environment. That means manage my environment, right? So all the anyhow, I will be giving you all the terminology in a simplistic way so that you should be able to digest and understand those terminologies, and you will be also, right, using those terminologies into day-to-day conversation. So we will have all that thing. Then registry and all that thing, right? So we'll be starting. Registry is nothing but a repository where my container images will be located. So we have a dedicated repository, Docker Hub, right? And from there we will push and pull. So it uses push-pull mechanism. Push-pull mechanism is very fast. Push means I want to upload something. So we say push. When I want to download something on my local machine to start my container from that particular image, we say pull. Right? So we use push-pull mechanism, and I will be talking more about when I start with Docker and all that sessions. So all that we will cover. So don't worry about it. Then installation and configuration, right? How we can install Docker and how we can set up our Docker environment and how we can use with our practical scenarios, hands-on command line tools and all that thing. We'll be doing it here. It also comes with security. Now, security is again an inbuilt component of almost all the tools, right? Security we do not bring from outside; it should be inbuilt. So we'll be talking about it, right? And here I've given some snippet here. Docker's this certificate is for only 90 minutes, right? 1.5 hour, right? 1.5 hour, right? Around 55 questions, but they are all objective, multiple choice based. So Docker exam is not that tough or that critical, right? In comparison to Kubernetes. Kubernetes exam is very tough, right? So you can even pass this exam, right? And the price is approximately $200. I'll give you some coupons so you can get it around 150. Alright, so if you are interested, normally people go with Kubernetes certificate because who will spend money? Once you are Kubernetes certificate, people will automatically by default they'll come to know you already know Docker because without Docker you cannot learn Kubernetes. So no need for both the certifications. But I'll be teaching you with certification track that is separate thing. But no need for Docker certification if you ask me. If you have money and time, no problem. I'll not stop you, right? But focus for Kubernetes. Once you're Kubernetes certified, people by default they'll know that you know Docker, right? Because the Kubernetes will use heart and soul of Kubernetes again Docker. Because once you create the container, then only Kubernetes will be able to manage it. Because as I said, Kubernetes cannot create containers on its own. So it is dependent on Docker. So once you're Kubernetes certified, by default, people will know you know Docker also, right? But if you have money and time, then go for this thing, right? So it's basically people choice. But if you take my advice, I'll be giving you all these advices free of cost. Alright, guys. So I don't have the other slide. Talk about bare metal and all the thing, but we will cover up when we start the session.
Is it a classroom-based training or online training, Prashant?
Yeah, one by one. Yeah, please ask again.
Is it a classroom-based training or online?
Online. Everything is online. We are all professionals. We cannot go to some center and then from there we have to come home and then get ready for office. We have to save time, right? And we have the technology. It's already proven in during the COVID time, right? Everybody was working remotely. So it's purely online, right? But it's instructor led. I'll be your SME for this course, both Docker and Kubernetes.
What's the duration of this course?
So basically, both the topics we cover in 45 days, Docker and Kubernetes, right? Sometimes three or five sessions up and down. So around 50 sessions we do for both. Docker will take around 20 sessions and Kubernetes we need around 30 sessions.
Prashant, this covers only CK or CKAD also?
No, CKA only. CKAD is purely developer.
That's right. Yeah, I just wanted to know whether it has both or only.
No.
only
If
one.
you know the CKA, right? CKD you can learn it. So let me open the CKD quickly for you.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, and the training will be daily 1 hour or how it
Yeah, daily 1 hour. Sometimes it goes to 1 hour, 10 minutes, 40 minutes, 15 minutes, right? But 1 hour, 60 minutes to 70 minutes because people will be asking questions of 5-10 minutes up and down.
It's only on weekdays or weekends as well, Saturday and Sunday too.
Normally we do from Monday to Saturday. Normally, right? 6 days we use. One day we take off. Sometimes people says only 5 days. We are fine with 5 days also. Some people they want to finish fast, so they say okay, let's utilize the time. So Saturdays also we meet sometime. But I always take concession on Friday. If people availability and everybody is there, then we'll schedule for Saturday. Otherwise Monday to Friday.
even 50 days is too long, right? So
45 days, right?
yeah,
Few
yeah.
extra days is adding it.
No, if we exclude weekends, so it will comes around like 2 months.
No, I'm including even yeah, correct, 2 months.
Mm. Can it be like fast track? Because I don't know others' opinions,
No,
but just I'm asking like one
no,
and a
I
half
don't
hour.
follow that practice. No, I
One
don't
and a half
follow
hour.
that
Okay,
practice.
okay, that, okay.
One and a half. Yeah, that we can do, but I don't follow the fast track. Cut down
No, no,
our course and then pass over.
Okay, we can do 1.5 hours. That makes sense actually.
yeah,
Yeah, sure. No worries. That we can plan. Then we can finish fast. So it will take around 35 days then.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So somebody asked me about CKADs, right? This is
Yeah, yeah,
CKAD.
yeah.
Okay.
How about lab setup for practice?
One by one, please. I missed first part and then somebody jumped in. Yeah, tell me again. Please come again.
So how about the lab structure for practicing things?
Lab setup is on AWS. You should have AWS account, and AWS gives 1 year free subscription. All right, 1 year free subscription, and we'll be using that AWS machines only. We won't be using anything so that AWS can charge us. Right, so free tier I can use, and it would be absolutely free. I'll be teaching you AWS also in the first session because I'll be setting up the lab and all that thing.
Okay, fine.
All right, so CKAD, if you see here, application developer, that means only related to application you will be having knowledge. You don't have any knowledge how application scheduled, right? How application networking, how application cluster setup, right? Cluster setup, all that thing is nothing there. It is expected that you already have a cluster and then bring your application. It is something like that, right? So here you will be, while designing your application, you should have a Kubernetes in mind. Then you will be designing your application and then accordingly you will be build your application. Right, so here we'll be teaching you only the Kubernetes specific things so that you can build your solution, you can build your application keeping Kubernetes in mind because the application will be running on Kubernetes platform. Right, so if you see all these are application only. So it's very lightweight exam, and we don't take this lightweight or a smart or a shortcut route. Right, we always go with CKA, not CKAD.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
CKA is very powerful, right? If you are looking for a US or UK or anything, right? Now CK Kubernetes jobs are available in city wise also, right? You are looking on a particular city or particular place also, you can find the jobs if you have this skill. It is so powerful.
Yeah, but only CKA, I don't see much openings.
No, but Kubernetes is the heart and soul. If you call about AWS doesn't have their own Kubernetes. They are using the same Kubernetes only. Kubernetes engine is used across multiple platforms. If you heard about Edge and other big data Hadoop cluster, they are also deployed on Kubernetes. Every technology, GoToMeeting is also running on Kubernetes because of the auto scaling and self-healing capabilities and inbuilt monitoring capabilities.
Okay.
There is no other parallel tool who can crack Kubernetes. Even I go to Red Hat also. Red Hat has also using Kubernetes. Underneath is Kubernetes only.
So you are going to cover on CKAD as well?
No, CKA. Don't dilute the things.
Okay, we are not diluting, but are you giving a training on CKAD as well in a different
No. Yeah, I teach CKAD also, but that's a separate track.
Okay.
If you are interested, you can enroll for CKAD because I am SME for CKA, CKAD, and CKS.
Okay.
Hey, hi Prashant, this is Ajit. So what is the role of what is the role of Kubernetes with the increased demand of artificial intelligence and machine learning?
Yeah, see, artificial intelligence are nothing but a data modules, right? People develop models in Python and various other programming language because of predictive analysis and all other artificial intelligences we use. We have some our modules, but those models they need platform, right? So once you come with even LLM, large language models also we deploy on Kubernetes, right? For the European customer for which I am working, they are using heavy industry models, right? Data models, right? Where they use predictive analysis, anomaly analysis, all the analysis they are doing on the data models. But they need platform where they are running. So we are running on OpenShift cluster. OpenShift nothing underneath is Kubernetes again, because that is my vendor choice. They already have OpenShift, but OpenShift is having a Kubernetes inbuilt Kubernetes. Another customer who is running on AWS, right? So all this, even artificial intelligence or Gen AI or machine learning,
right? They are just how to build your modules, data modules, so that you can do predictive analysis, or you can do any data analysis, or you can manage your data sampling, or anything you want to do with a data related thing, right? But they need a platform, and Kubernetes is only the platform, even for large language modules, even for BDMs, right? So all the databases we are hosting through Kubernetes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Kubernetes is not just one tool; it's a platform, right? Normally people misunderstand because they say it's just a tool. It's not a tool; it's a platform.
but yeah.
You can access from anywhere.
How about, are we going to cover this Helm charts
Helm
in
charts we can cover, not a big deal. Helm charts we can cover. As
Ingress?
I said, YAML and templates and all that thing. So it's a part of that part of itself. Helm.
Okay. Ingress, everything will be covered, right?
Yes,
Helm chart.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Ingress is there, yes. Without that, we cannot do
correct, correct. Yeah.
anything.
Mm.
Right? So we have dedicated session for Ingress. We have dedicated session for Helm, because we
Okay.
cannot finish in just one session or in with another session. It needs a dedicated session.
Okay.
Hi, Prasan.
Yes, boss.
So
Tell me.
we are going to start from Docker or Kubernetes?
First, we'll start from Docker, because you should know what is container. And Kubernetes is nothing but a container management tool. It will manage your container. But if you have nothing to manage, then what Kubernetes will do? Nothing. So we'll start with Docker, and it should be with Docker only, always. It not be other way around, that first Kubernetes then Docker. So we'll start with
And
Docker, we'll finish Docker, and then we'll move with Kubernetes.
and for Docker, what are the prerequisites? AWS, Linux, all these things required, or how is it?
Normally, I'll be hosting on bare metal AWS machine. I'll take one machine from AWS, which is free tier, free of cost, right? And I'll be doing installation on that thing. I'll teach you how to do installation, right, of Docker. Once the Docker environment is up and running, then we will be start building all the things, right? And there are some commands, Linux command, because normally what happens, Linux is the de facto standard of all enterprise organizations. All big players, they use Linux because of security, compliances, environment manage, scalability. Even Kubernetes, when they launch on Linux platform. They never launch on Windows. Now we are having so many alternatives for Windows, and we can host it on Windows also. But still, right? If you ask me what is the de facto standard, right? De facto is always Linux platform. So I'll be teaching you Linux, right? It's just a few commands you should learn every day. Once you do, right? If you do for more than 10 days, right, you will automatically you will start learning it, and we'll be doing more than for 35 to 45 days, right? So all that you will be building the know. If you know, well and good. If you don't know, I'll be teaching you that also as a part of it, but it will be Linux, not Windows.
Sir, after completion of the enter program, sir, can we go with like any kind of projects on that, sir?
Yes, you can pick up any
Like,
projects, anything.
I'm saying about like what kind of like Java based applications or Python based applications, sir?
So normally what happens in my Docker, I have designed your course in such a way that I'll be covering all the domains, all programs. I will be running Java Spring Boot applications. So I'll be touching how
Okay.
to deal with Java application. I'll be teaching you
Okay.
Python application, how to deal with Python application in Docker. Then I'll be
Okay.
teaching you other .NET, Angular, JS, how to deal with those applications. So I've already
Okay.
predefined things. I'll be teaching you that.
Okay. Fine, sir. Fine.
Alright. So Maven, Spring Boot, all that is part of my Docker course.
So how about deploying parts and all using CI/CD pipelines, right?
First, we will do through YAML. All right, YAML is an automated script templatized thing. Then we'll automate through Helm. CI/CD and all that thing we will do in Docker, because we'll be doing the image building. Right, I have a customer requirement defined. How to build the image for customer. Right, so I'll be teaching you how to build your own image rather than using the ready-made image. So for that, we'll be using CI/CD pipeline of Docker.
Okay, fine.
Right, then I'll deploy a few applications like Java and other applications also through that.
Hi,
Right, so we'll be
Prashant.
doing few projects also in Docker, few projects, so that you can have hands-on experience. Plus, I'll be assigning you few things, and I'll be doing the projects with you. Full-fledged, back and front end, all full-fledged, middle tier, all projects we'll be doing together. Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Can we use Vagrant and Oracle VirtualBox instead of
You can use it.
AWS?
I don't feel that is the need of this course. But you can, if you have experience, you can use it. No problem. It's up to you. But that is not a
Yeah,
need
because
of this
all
course.
the
And
time I think when it's not used, we have to shut the instances down, right? When not in use. And is it okay, like multiple times, like shutting down the cluster and bringing up again? Since we use a free tier
yes,
AWS, so
yes.
rather if
There are some techniques. We'll shut down the cluster, and when we bring up the cluster next day, there are some techniques which I'll be showing you, and it is very easy to use it. No need to use Vagrant and recreate the whole cluster again. That is not needed. Kubernetes has its own inbuilt capabilities, and if you know those capabilities, it would be very easy to deal with start and stop or setting up the new cluster. See, first time I'll be taking 1 hour to set up the cluster because I'll be teaching you so many things. Next day, within 10 minutes, I'll set up the cluster. Third day, it will be just 5 minutes. It is so fast.
yeah, all right, yeah, thank you.
Sure. Any other question, guys? Anything in your mind? So as I said, we'll be recording the session. We'll be providing you training materials. We'll be providing my PDF, even my slide, everything I'll be providing you. All right. Even my presentation, if I use any kind of presentations, right, module by module, you will be provided with everything.
Can we
One thing,
practice
guys,
this?
uh, when we want to go with the other CKAD also,
Hmm.
we have to understand this basics first, and then we have to learn the second one, right? Or parallelly we can continue.
So if you know CKAD you can manage on your own, right?
Okay.
CKAD you can manage on your own, right? Only 30% is extra which you should know, and for that 30% CKAD, right? You can manage on your own if you know the CKA. If you know Docker and CKAD you can manage very comfortably. It is that easy because we are understanding the complex part. Complex is CKA. If you understand CKA, rest of things you can manage on the fly because you are already well versed with the technology, you are well versed with the platform, you already know Kubernetes nuances, Docker nuances, all the semantics of both the tools. Then CKD is not tough for you. It's very easy.
Thank you.
Somebody was also asking some question. What was that?
Okay.
All right, guys. I think we already hit an hour. Anybody else, guys? Any questions in your mind before we wrap up for the day?
Is this demo sessions continuous, or are you going to take the classes from tomorrow onwards?
Normally after demo session people confirm and their availability and all the thing. Once that
Yeah,
is fixed and we have the alignment and consensus from everybody that okay they are available on so and so timing, we'll start the session. So probably tomorrow we can start. Visualpath anyhow they'll be announcing after this batch because I don't know everybody's things but they have all the details so they will announce it. You will be notified soon.
sure.
Just want to double check, Prashant here. So, is it
Yeah, we
going to be the same time or is it a different time every day?
normally 8 a.m. is the ideal time for everyone,
Uh-huh.
right? It's ideal time for everyone. So normally it will be the same time.
Sure.
But
Okay. Thanks.
if on people's request, we can change the timing. But normally it would be the same. And again, as I said, we'll take people's consensus and based on that, we'll schedule our batch. But once we fix the timing, everybody has to stick it. Every day we cannot change it.
Okay. 8 o'clock works for me. Thanks.
Yes. Normally 8 o'clock because last batch also during this time and it was comfortable for everyone.